So to get to the checkout payments and options and all of those other settings, once we log in, we just go over to the bottom of the admin panel, click on settings, and then we'll go down to the first option underneath general, which is payments. So the first thing that I want to show you over here is the area where we can choose our options for accepting payments. Shopify Payments powered by Stripe is the first thing that you can see here, which is the method used for accepting credit card payments online. The one thing that I want to note is that because this is powered by Stripe, you may not see this in all countries. If you're in the United States or in Canada, you should see this because that's where Stripe works. If you're outside of the United States or Canada, you likely won't see this option. But because I've actually gone ahead and signed up and created this account with a United States address, they've went ahead and actually made this as my default way of accepting credit card payments. Now, an easy way to get this all set up is to go over and click on where it says Complete Shopify Payments Account Setup. And then you'll be taken here on the next page where you can go ahead and put in what type of business you have, the estimate of your average order, and all the other information that you need so that you can actually get your business accepting credit card payments immediately. But if you don't want to use Stripe and you would like to use a different type of service, that's available to you as well. So just go back to the payments section. And then over here, right next to the button that we had just clicked on earlier, we have the option to select Edit. So go ahead and click Edit. And then you'll notice over here that it tells you a little bit more information. But down here is where we really want to go because we want to click on this option that says Change Gateway. So once we click on that, Shopify lets us know that we're going to deactivate this payment portal, and so we're going to go ahead and click Deactivate. If you'd like to tell them why, you may. And you'll see now that this area has changed, and we can now select a new credit card gateway. And we have a lot of different options. So you can see here that with all the different options here, if you've never used one before, this might seem really daunting for you. Authorize.net is a standard, as well as PayPal Payflow Pro. So if you were to want to use one of these, you'd simply click on the one that you'd like, and then you'd go through the process of activating that payment portal. The next option that you have to accept payment with is with PayPal. So your store right now is accepting payments with the express checkout, which means that whether or not if you have an account with PayPal or not, you can still accept payments from those who are trying to pay you with PayPal. If you don't want PayPal to send your PayPal payments over to this email address and you already have an existing PayPal account, then all you have to do is go over here and click on Edit, click on Deactivate, and then you can go ahead and reactivate either the Payments Pro or the Express Checkout by clicking on one of these links or by learning more over here. So I'll just go ahead and click on one, scroll back down, and then I'll be able to activate it. So the next option down here is called alternate payments. So alternate payments are a way of accepting payment methods from things like Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a popular payment method, but it does exist, and some people do like to use Bitcoin to pay for products. So you can use a service like BitPay, and you can accept BitPay by following these instructions and activating a BitPay alternative payment portal for your Shopify store. And the last payment method is to accept payment by things like cash on delivery, money order, bank deposits, or by creating a custom solution. So cash on delivery is when a payment is made once the product has been delivered. Think about a pizza delivery. If you order a pizza and you wanted to pay cash, you'd wait until the pizza arrived at your door and you'd give the delivery driver your cash for the pizza, and that's what a cash on delivery service or payment method would entail. So over here you can change the name of this payment method, although it makes sense to keep it as cash on delivery so you know which payment method you're dealing with. And then you can also add some instructions like thank you or whatever else it is that you think would be necessary to put over here. The last part of these settings is to either choose to automatically or manually capture payments for orders. But it's totally up to you. It's pure preference, and it really depends on how organized you are. So let's go over to the checkout section by going back over to the admin panel in the general settings area and click on checkout. So here in the checkout section, the first area deals with customer accounts. So what this means is if you've ever been to an online store and been asked to create an account before you purchase a product, they made those settings in something similar to this. So with the first option, accounts are disabled. This means that any person can buy any product off of your website and they can check out as a guest. They don't have the option to create their own account. The second option, accounts are required. You would think that this means that accounts would already have to be created or created on the spot by the customer themselves. But what this actually is a membership type of account creation. So what that means is if you were selling things that were wholesale and you had a business-to-business relationship with clients, you could allow them to have their own individual sign-in and login information so that they can come and purchase goods from your website. The third option, accounts are optional, means that customers can buy a product and check out as a guest, or they can create an account at the end of the checkout process. The next section is field settings. So over here, you can change things like the name requirements, where you can ask them if they only need to put their last name or their first and last name. You can make it optional as to whether or not if they want their company name to appear. You can also change things like their apartment and phone number settings. The next section is for order processing. This first option that you have to select is letting you know that you can use the billing address as the shipping address by default. In most cases, the shipping address and the billing address are going to be the same, but you could leave this unchecked, and what that'll do is it'll require the customer to have to put in the information for the billing address and the shipping address separately, even if they are the same address. If you do leave this check marked, however, Shopify will automatically fill out that information, but the customer can change the information if they need to. This second part, collecting consent to send promotional email to customers from your store, is important as well. So the first option allows customers to agree to receive promotional emails by default. What this means is that they'll have an option to check mark a box or to uncheck mark a box. With this first option, the box is already check marked that they'll agree to receive promotional emails, and it's up to the customer to uncheck that box if they don't want to receive those promotional emails. The second option makes it so that the box is unchecked by default, and that if a customer does want to receive any promotional emails, it's up to them to check mark the box indicating that they would like that information. The third option allows you to disable and hide the field altogether, and the customer won't even have the opportunity to say that they do want promotional emails. The next option is that after an order has already been paid, you can automatically fulfill the order's line item, or you can not automatically fulfill any of the line items. You can have the line items fulfilled automatically if they're things that are digital products, and if they're physical products, it's best to allow yourself to manually fulfill any of the order's line items. And then this option, after an order has been fulfilled and paid, to automatically archive the order may be a good option if you're selling digital goods, but if you're selling physical goods, it's probably better to leave this unmarked, because then you won't see it on your order list, and that's something that you need to be on top of. The additional content and scripts area over here is a place where you can paste things like ROI and conversion tracking codes and partner tracking systems. If we scroll down, we see that we also have the option to put in a checkout language. We can view and update the checkout language settings here, and you'll see that English is the language that's active right now, and we can add French, German, Portuguese, from Portugal and from Brazil, and Spanish. And so we can also get rid of them by deleting the language over here. The next section over here is the refund, privacy, and terms of service statements. So what we want over here is to fill these out individually with our terms of service, privacy policy, and refund policy. And you don't necessarily need this, it's not required by law, But if you were to be selling a product on Amazon, for example, which I would strongly encourage you to do, they will require that you have these things filled out. There are other different types of places on the internet where you might want to also sell your product through, and they'll probably require these as well. Plus, it's important to have these just because it can save your business from liability. You can generate a sample refund policy by clicking here and then going in and altering it as needed. So you can say that your policy lasts 15 days, 45 days, 90 days, and so on. And you can take these in and out, and you can really make this your own. And once you're finished with all of this, don't forget to save. And as long as you save, you'll be finished with the setup of your payments and checkout.